Welcome
One
to
glance.
LVT-SHOWBIZ, the
Not
place
a
to get the
scene.
fastest, highest
Not a
quality,
line.
most interesting updates
Not even
and
a
new
headline.
perspectives on Chinese
Just a
entertainment.
tiny shift in someone's eyes, and suddenly, the entire room felt different. Because when Chen Zheyuan caught Li Qin's expression, an expression fans insist was the clearest, "I'm not okay with this moment," his energy changed in real time. And what happened next is exactly why people say, the loudest feelings aren't spoken, they are shown. Stay with me, because the most powerful part of this story is not the look itself. It's what it triggered after. There are moments in the spotlight that feel rehearsed, smiles that arrive on cue, polite laughter that lands exactly where it should, and the kind of ease celebrities learn to wear like tailoring. Then there are moments that do not fit the pattern, moments that slip through before the face remembers it is being watched. This is why that brief clip drew so much attention. It was not loud, not dramatic, not even obvious at first glance. It was small, and precisely because it was small, many viewers read it as real. In a crowded event setting, Chen Zheyuan appears relaxed and sociable, speaking with colleagues in a way that looks completely ordinary for the industry. Nothing about the interaction is unusual on paper. Yet when the camera cuts to Li Qin, the atmosphere shifts. Her expression, as the transcript frames it, carries tension, a fraction of discomfort, a flicker of surprise, a restraint that suggests she is managing something she would rather not show. The power of the moment is that it appears unplanned. It is the sort of micro-expression people recognize from their own lives, when the heart reacts faster than the mind can correct it. For audiences, this is compelling because it is familiar. Many people know what it feels like to keep composure in public while emotions rise in private. The transcript leans into that universality, a quick look that says more than a speech, a gaze that returns even after looking away, as if attention is pulled by instinct. Viewers do not need a confession to feel the tension, they simply need the impression that something meaningful surfaced for a second. In that sense, the moment becomes a mirror. People watch not only to understand Li Qin, but to understand the language of feelings they themselves have tried to hide. What gives the story its emotional weight is not only the expression itself, but the idea that it was noticed. The transcript frames Chen Zheyuan's reaction as a shift so subtle that it would be easy to miss if you were not looking for it, yet noticeable enough that fans felt it changed the entire rhythm of the scene. That is exactly how real-life emotional adjustments work, not with announcements, but with recalibration. Before the glance, he is presented as open and animated, moving through the social space with ease. After he catches Li Qin's look, the tone tightens. His smile softens, the energy becomes more careful. The transcript suggests a pause, an instant where he seems to recognize a dynamic he had not acknowledged a moment earlier. This matters because it reads as emotional awareness. In public environments, the easiest route is to remain on, to keep the conversation flowing, to behave as if nothing has happened. The more difficult route is to become attentive without making the situation bigger. Viewers interpret this as a quiet form of respect. Instead of reacting dramatically, he appears to respond with restraint, lowering his voice, reducing the intensity of his engagement elsewhere, and shifting attention towards Li Qin as if checking whether she is all right. It is not presented as possessiveness. It is presented as consideration, an attempt to protect someone's feelings without turning her into a headline in the room. And that is why audiences are drawn to it. Many people have experienced moments where someone they care about looks hurt, and they must decide whether to ignore it, confront it, or gently reassure. The transcript positions Chen Zheyuan in that exact human dilemma. If the story lands emotionally, it is because the reaction feels like a choice, not what do I do for the cameras, but how do I make sure you don't feel alone in this? Even if it remains interpretation, the emotional logic is strong enough to hold attention. Once a moment becomes public, it rarely stays confined to the moment. It grows legs. It becomes a reference point, and then every later interaction gets reread through that lens. The transcript captures this perfectly. After the event, fans begin to describe a pattern, small shifts that, to them, suggest the emotional dynamic has deepened. Importantly, the story is not built on grand gestures. It is built on tiny ones, the kind people notice precisely because they are easy to deny. The after effect is presented as Chen Zheyuan paying closer attention, standing nearer, speaking more softly, watching Li Qin's reactions when others interact with her, offering subtle physical cues, light contact, a brief touch, a positioning that communicates reassurance without making it public theatre. None of this proves a relationship, and the script should never present it as proof. But it does create an emotional narrative, the idea that once he noticed her discomfort, he chose not to leave her alone with it. Meanwhile, Li Qin is portrayed as trying to regain composure while still carrying the weight of that earlier glance. She smiles at times, but the transcript suggests moments of hesitation, looking away, then looking back, as if emotion has not fully settled. This combination is what makes the story feel intimate to viewers. Two people navigating a complex feeling in a public space, trying to remain professional while something personal hums beneath the surface. Audiences are moved by the notion that care can be expressed quietly. Many people do not want to be saved in public, they want to be seen. The big meaning fans attach to these gestures is not only romantic. It is about emotional safety. It is about the relief of knowing someone noticed your discomfort and responded with gentleness rather than indifference. This is why the clip becomes rewatchable. Every small movement becomes a potential sentence in an unspoken conversation. And because the conversation is not confirmed, viewers keep returning, searching for the next detail that makes the story feel real to them. If this were only about pairing two celebrities, it would flare up and disappear like countless other trending topics. The reason it lasts is that it taps into something broader, the emotional complexity of human relationships, especially the relationships that exist in the in-between, where feelings may be present, but labels are absent. The transcript works because it speaks to that in-between with recognizable emotional truth. First, there is the theme of restraint. In many cultures, especially in public or professional settings, people learn to hide discomfort for the sake of harmony. Li Qin's expression, as it is framed, becomes a symbol of what happens when restraint cracks for a split second. It is not drama, it is the human cost of keeping everything neat. Audiences connect to that because they have lived it, swallowing words, smiling through awkwardness, pretending they do not care when they do. Second, there is the theme of emotional responsibility. The reason Chen Zheyuan's reaction matters to viewers is that it suggests he felt accountable for her emotional state. Not in a controlling way, but in a relational way, the sense that if someone important to you feels unsettled, you do not treat it as noise. You respond. In real life, this is what people want most from partners, friends, and colleagues: attentiveness that does not humiliate, reassurance that does not demand attention. Third, it touches on vulnerability. Jealousy is often framed as weakness, but many viewers interpret it as evidence of care, especially when it is brief and restrained rather than explosive. The transcript invites audiences to see jealousy not as a flaw, but as a moment of emotional honesty. That reframe is powerful because it offers compassion for Li Qin's feelings, and for anyone who has ever felt insecure but tried to handle it with dignity. Finally, the story resonates because it is unfinished. There is no official confirmation, no clean ending, and that ambiguity mirrors real emotional life. People rarely get perfect closure. They get moments, signals, shifts in tone. The content performs well because it dignifies those small moments, treating them as meaningful rather than trivial. No one outside their inner circle knows the full truth. There has been no official confirmation, and it's important to keep interpretations as interpretations. But what audiences do see is this. Sometimes a single glance can change the atmosphere between two people. Not because they planned it, because emotions are real, and real emotion does not always arrive with permission. And perhaps that is the most compelling part of this story. It reminds us that the quietest moments can carry the loudest meaning. If you enjoyed this kind of calm, respectful analysis of showbiz moments, and you want more updates with heart, balance, and detail, please subscribe to LVT-SHOWBIZ. Thank you for watching, and for supporting the channel. Your time means a lot. Until the next video, take care of yourselves, and keep an eye on the moments that speak without words.